Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie the Crafty DIY Guy. Welcome to my channel. I'm a little dressed up. All right, you guys. Now, if you are wondering, first of all, why the heck am I wearing this bow tie? It is because I actually just got back from a birthday party from a friend of mine. And when I got home, this box was sitting on my front step, and I knew who this box was from. And it is from Kristen K. So I am participating in the mystery box challenge that was created by Courtney from Creative on the Cheap. I say she is the originator of the mystery box challenge. And she included me this month, and I'm so excited because not only do I have a box of fun stuff to create some fun projects with from Kristen K DIY, but I also sent my mystery box to Whitney from Whiskey and Wit. And, you know, I got to know Whitney. I got to know Whiskey. I got to know both at lunch, but I got to know, I have a friend named Whitney, but never mind. I got to know, Whitney from Whiskey and Wit really well when we went on the Boston trip. So I sent her some fun stuff. And I'm going to link Courtney's channel, of course, below, Kristen K's channel below, Whitney's channel below, and there's a playlist below that you can hop along and see all of the mystery box items or all the people that participated in the mystery box challenge this month. Now, this month's theme is also crafters giving back, and there's a charitable angle to this, and we are doing random acts of kindness, and you will see what my random acts of kindness were. Throughout my video, I've kind of put some little snippets in there of something that I did on my own to kind of, you know, honor this theme that we have, which is in honor of Courtney and her mom, of course. Let's unpack. But before I unpack, I, of course, have to say thank you to all of my subscribers for being here. You know, I appreciate you guys, the OGs in the group. That's just the original gang. Thank you guys so much for being here. Honestly, it's been a blast, and I can't believe it's been like 2 years. By the way, if you hear some scratching in the background, that is Otis. You know, he lives here. He feels like he needs to do that every time I jump on camera, so just ignore him until he's done. All right, let's open up this box. Now, again, I did take the tape off, but I didn't open it up and peek inside yet because I wanted you, my real reactions to what Kristen sent me. And, all right, so far I'm not too scared. So there is a card here at the top, which I will read. And it says on the inside, first it's really cute, black and white. It says cute matters. I think it's appropriate for what I'm wearing. I don't know. And the inside of the card says, Jamie, I hope these mystery items don't make you cry. I sent some of my favorite candy just in case. Love, Kristen. So thank you, Kristen. I appreciate it. And let's see what's in here. So right at the top, I don't see the mystery box items yet, but oh, okay, now I see them. So the deal with this is I have to create crafts with everything that's inside this box. And the mandatory items are the mystery items that are wrapped up, and those I must create a craft with. So let's see what's in here. First off, I'm grabbing some burlap, and I'm loving this burlap. The red and the green are fantastic. And I think that I have an idea for these because I'm actually working on a wreath, maybe? I don't know. But, I mean, they're fantastic for Christmas time, so that's immediately what I'm thinking about. But I've not worked with burlap before, so that'll be interesting to see what that turns out to be like. Hi, buddy. There's Otis. Now he's done scratching. Hi, buddy. And then I see these, and I love these. I think these are from Target. I think this is the Target brand, but check those out. Aren't those cute? I know it's hard to see because of the lights reflecting, but they're a set of bottle brush trees, and it looks like there's some taller ones and then some shorter ones that are sitting on some wood blocks. I really love those, and I think I could do something with those. Oh God. Here's the mystery box. Here's the mystery items. She wrapped them in paper towels for me. So thank you, Kristen. just touching them, I'm terrified. A chalkboard, okay, not too horrible. It says I'm a chalkboard on it, which I think is funny. I should incorporate the I'm a chalkboard sign into my DIY instead of the chalkboard, but that's just a joke. I've had a couple little libations this afternoon. All right, so I'm a chalkboard, little floral shaped chalkboard. This is the candy. So Sweethearts ropes. Thank you, Kristen, for those. I will probably just munch on those after I film this. There is some iridescent glitter glue, which I've never used before. So that's kind of fun. I think this is from Walmart. And I don't know if I told you guys either. The theme of the mystery box this month is $20 to $30 we can shop from anywhere. The main thought of this is that the kind of the crafters give back, the paying it forward, doing a random act of kindness. That's kind of what the theme is. So she shopped at probably Walmart, Dollar Tree. So far it looks like Dollar General maybe, Walmart, Target. So I shopped at all those places too. All right, these are adorable. These are really, really cute. I don't even want to do a DIY to mess these up, but I'm sure I could. These are super, super cute. It's an ornament set. They're from Walmart, and I've seen these package of ornament sets, but I have not seen this one. And look how cute that little Rudolph one is. I really, really, really like these. Gosh, that's going to be hard to DIY with. It's going to be hard to figure out something because I love the way they look. So that is one of the items. I'm opening my mystery box items last on purpose. Okay, this is funny. If you've already watched Whitney's unboxing, then you know that I did something very similar to Whitney. So it's a great garland. This is garland that I picked up at Walmart. And I love this garland. It is 9 feet and those beads are amazing. And I'm going to have to figure out something now to do with those. But, let me think. Oh, these are fun. Oh, okay. Let me grab these out first. Some fabric rolls. These are fantastic. I have not seen these. I don't know. It's from Cricut, and it's I love this name. It's called a fat quarter, and it's for quilting, I believe. And this is a really cool Christmas pattern. It looks like it's got some buffalo check and some plaid Christmas trees on it. And then this is another fat quarter that has some fun patterns on it. It kind of looks like quilting pattern within a quilt, so that's really kind of cool. And I think I can work with these. I know I can work with these. That's so funny. I know I can work with these. So that's the that's the other thing. And then I'm going to put these mystery box items aside. And then this is the other thing that's inside this box. It's a set of these trays. How beautiful are these? And they're all roped and zip tied and everything together. But it's 3 trays that I love these. I may not. Well, I have to. I'm going to DIY with these. So I am going to DIY with these. And so cute. Set of 3. Thank you, Kristen. And now that I've said thank you, let's get to your mystery items that, again, you wrapped up in paper towels for me. I know that Dollar Tree does have some gift wrapping now. But yeah, let's, all right, number 1. Now these are the mandatories. I must open something with these mandatories. So, oh gosh, all right, number 1. What? I must, how the heck? I hate you. I don't hate you. I love you. But a calculator? Does it even work? Darn it, it does work. All right, it's a handheld solar calculator. That is a must. And then the next thing, and then of course Otis starts scratching again, The next thing, okay, this is not even what I thought it was. When I first opened it, I thought it was a pet color. If it was a pet color, that might have been better. It's a youth baseball belt. So I have to create something with a calculator and a belt. The calculator, I have no freaking idea. The belts, I'm not so scared about. So I have to create something with a calculator. All right, guys, I am going to think about all this. I'm going to take the bow tie off, and I'm going to start creating. So, all right, here it is. Mystery Box Challenge. I'm going to open these up now so I don't call Kristen and ask her what I'm supposed to do with that freaking calculator. All right, everyone, and for project number 1, I'm going to be tackling those trays that were sent to me. I'm actually going to be using the middle tray of the 3, and I'm going to come back to the other trays later on. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rope from this tray because I'm not going to be using it for this particular project. The next thing I'm going to do is also grab one of those fabric rolls, and this is the one that has kind of the quilted pattern on it. I really liked this pattern, and I liked that it had the trees on it, and it also had some trucks on it, and I thought that I could make a little shadow box with it. So after removing the sticker from that fabric that was absolutely ridiculous trying to get all of that off of there, I did go ahead and just lay this out flat, and then I'm going to take my box and I'm going to place the box right on top of that fabric there, and I am going to be tracing all around the fabric on the back side of it there because I want to line the bottom of my tray with that fabric. Now, again, I'm not using this as a tray. This is really going to be a shadow box, but you will see what it looks like when it's all set up here in just a minute. After I have the piece cut out perfectly, then it was time to go ahead and just glue it into place. I am just going to add very simple amounts and very small amounts of hot glue into the 4 corners, and I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. The main reason is if I want to use this for another project, I can very, very easily remove this fabric versus using a Mod Podge or something like that. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to use something a little more fun to replace the handles that were on this tray. Even though I'm not going to be using this as a tray, I do need to address those handles. I thought about, or those holes, I thought about using like wood filler or something and closing them in. But who knows, I may want to actually use this as a tray at some point. So I did want to go ahead and add something in there in place of the ropes that were there before. And so I'm going to be using this mesh tube ribbon that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I love this stuff. I use it in the burlap color probably the most out of anything. And all I'm doing is kind of creating 4 or 5 different pieces here that are going to be about the same length. I'm going to tie them together in a knot, and then I'm going to feed them through as handles, and I'm just going to repeat that on both sides, giving my shadow box some handles. And now that my handles are all set, I'm going to go ahead and place my trees inside of my shadow box. Now, for these trees, these are kind of the perfect size because they are those great bottle brush trees. And I love that there are 4 different sizes, or really 2 different sizes in each color is really what I should say. And I am going to place those inside the box by just using a little bit of hot glue. I do want them to stay in place. And then after I have the glue or the trees in place, now it's time to use that sparkly, glittery glue that I was sent. And I don't exactly know what to do with this. So instead of using it or trying to use it for something, I'm just going to brush it onto my trees. That way it gives my trees a little bit of sparkle because they will have the glitter on each one of the trees, and I thought that that could really be nice and would be a fun way to incorporate the glitter in an unexpected way. And now I have this little blue truck that I've loved so much, and I thought that it would be fun to take one of these ornaments and glue it on the side of the truck to make the truck look like it was like a farmhouse truck or maybe a delivery truck of some kind. I'm going to use this Mary sign, and I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue right to the back of this and just glue this right on the side of my cement truck or my ceramic truck. It's certainly not cement. That would be a little heavy. And then I didn't quite like the way that looked, so I ended up adding a little bit of a wreath that I had from an ornament left over. And I love the way this little shadow box turned out. I think it's super, super cute. You could string some lights into it. You could really have a lot of fun with this. And I think that this is a great addition to a bookshelf or an office or even a man cave. I really love the way that this one turned out. All right, and then my next project, I'm going to be using these beaded garland from Walmart, and then also this other thing of fabric that has an equally pain in the booty label that is stuck to this fabric. I don't know why companies do stuff like this. I guess I know why they do it. It's because the price tags won't fall off, but good Lord, this stuff is hard to remove from here. So once I did finally have that all removed, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with those wood beads, because I actually have this same exact wood beads. I bought this garland from Walmart myself just a couple weeks ago, and I really, really love it, and I don't want to destroy it, but I've got to DIY with it. So I think I'm going to take my fabric pieces and, or my fabric here. This is the second roll of fabric that Kristen sent me in my box. And I am just going to start shredding this fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this kind of white trim that's on the end of it here. And then after that is all cut down, then I'm just going to start cutting this into random strips. I did fold this in half just to make it a little bit easier, and I am just cutting strips. I'm not really paying attention to the exact sizing of them. I'm not paying attention to how thick they are or how thin they are. I just want a whole bunch of shredded strips until I have something that looks like this. My initial thought was going to be to tie those little pieces of ribbon or those little pieces of fabric that now kind of look like random little ribbon in between these beads and kind of make it like a wood garland that had a little bit of like this rag rug kind of treatment to it. But I decided instead that I would cut my precious garland. I'm only going to cut half of it because, Kristen, I'm going to use the other half on my dining room table or on my living room table to make kind of like a smaller piece of garland that I can use on a tray or something. So you're going to get this half that's going to be used for my DIY, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze off a little more beads here. Now, I'm going to take one of those beads, and this is one of the beads that did come from that garland, and I am going to add a little bit of hot glue to it. Now, you may think that I am crazy, but I'm just doing that just to hold the first piece of fabric or the first couple pieces of fabric onto the wood bead, because I'm going to make a tassel and I'm going to use this wood bead to do that. Now I'm going to take my fabric strips and I'm just going to start crisscrossing them across the top of this bead, and I'm going to do this until I feel like that I have enough of these fabric pieces covering my bead, because I'm going to be making this fun tassel that's going to hang on the end of that garland. So after crisscrossing this many times, I came up with the size that I thought was perfect, and then I just grabbed it in the middle, and then I started folding those pieces of tassel or those pieces of fabric around the bead itself, and then I did wrap it and secure it with some twine. After I did that, I wanted to make sure that the pieces were a little more frayed looking and a little more tassel-esque. So I did take some scissors and just start snipping those away. I ended up getting a better pair of scissors from the first pair that I cut the pieces of fabric with, and it went much easier. So that was certainly fun. After everything was covered on that tassel, then I went ahead and started to add it to my garland. Now, the way I did that was I took a embroidery needle. I took the excess thread that was left over on the garland. I threaded my needle and then I stuck the needle right through. I did take a small screwdriver and just kind of poke my way through that just to make sure that I could very easily get that needle through there because there was a little bit of glue and there were several layers of fabric. I wanted it to be easy. Once it was all connected to the garland, I just simply tied a knot in the end of it using another bead to secure everything, frayed it out, and played with it. Now, I wasn't quite done yet because I did have more of those little ornaments that I used on the blue truck. So I thought it would be cute to tie a couple of those also to the end of this tassel. Now, I originally was going to start off with 2, but then I switched back to 1, and I was really, really happy with the way that the 1 looked. I think this is super, super cute. It's fun to put on a tiered tray. You could put it on a small Dollar Tree Christmas tree, and there's a lot of fun things you can do with this. Now for this next project, I'm going to be using those 2 trays that are left over from the set of 3 that Kristen sent me. When I was kind of playing around with these, I noticed that this smaller tray was actually the perfect size to sit on top of the larger tray. And I thought that this could maybe be a cool like desk setup, something to kind of hold some notebooks, some journals, maybe some office supplies. So I'm going to play around with that. I don't exactly know if I'm going to be gluing this on top. I think if anything, I'm going to use just a little bit of hot glue just to stack them because these are really cute trays. These are really great trays, and I could use them for a lot of other projects as well. So I thought, maybe I could keep that up there without having to glue it, but I kind of figured out soon enough that there was going to be no way to really do that. So I did end up gluing that tray to the top part of that box. Now, once I did have that set up, or before I actually even started to glue that together, I did realize that I needed to also figure out how to cover up these holes that were in the front of the larger box. The ones on the side for the smaller box, I'm not that concerned about, but I did have this great belt that Kristen sent me. This was one of my mandatory items, my must-use items, and I thought that maybe I could make the belt kind of look like hardware. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the belt. Of course, after I cut the belt, I thought that I probably could have just stretched the belt around the tray or something like that, but you know what? You live once, so I was living dangerously and just thought that I could just trim this down, and I kind of think it worked out. Now that extra piece of fabric that I've just kind of pushed off to the side there, I will end up using that. And I am going to go ahead and glue this one piece right back onto this buckle here. That way I have a system that kind of sticks to the front of the tray, kind of like this. Now, when I was doing this, I did play around with it a little bit. I did trim it down just a little bit more because I want to make sure that I can go ahead and have this hardware kind of look really cool on the front of this tray. And I did also want it to be the length of the holes that you see on that front of the tray. That way it does cover everything up. So after trimming this down, you will see through the magic of me forgetting to film this part, I glued it to the front of the tray. I had one of these round Dollar Tree pencil cases that was left over from a previous project, and then I just took another piece of the belt and just stretched it around the pencil case and just glued it in the back. That way I could use the belt to my advantage, and it could hold like scissors or small screwdrivers, little tools, and I thought that would be a nice addition of a desk accessory. Now, I needed to also figure out something to do with that wonderful calculator that Kristen was sending me, and I really had no idea. I was going to just kind of place it on top of the workstation there that I'm creating, and then I was like, done. I used the calculator, ha ha ha. But I knew that wouldn't necessarily fly in the mystery box DIY rules. So I found this wood block. This is a wood block that I've had for a while. I think it's actually a block from Arteza. And I am just going to paint this using my Waverly paint. I'm using this crimson red color because it matches the belt. I would not typically use red in any of my office supply decor, but we're going to call this my Christmas decor. And what I'm going to be doing with this little wood cube after I've got it all painted and stained and dried is I'm going to create this little micro workstation with it. On one side of my workstation, I glued one of these magnetic clips to it. That way I could hold miscellaneous items like receipts or little pieces of paper that I knew I couldn't get rid of. On the other side, I just simply took a nail and nailed it in at a diagonal. That way I could hold a key there. For the side here, I took a block of Post-it notes and just cut them in half lengthwise. That way I would have kind of a little mini Post-it station that would be on one side of my cube here. And on the other side, yes, I'm using the calculator and gluing that down. That way I always have a calculator at my fingertips that I can use at any time. And it's standing up right there on my little desk cube accessory waiting for me. Now, because I did have one smaller piece of my belt left, I decided to glue a piece of that to the top of my workstation and use it as a pin cushion holder for some thumbtacks. And even though you do have to push fairly hard for them to go into this piece of wood, I have created the coolest little workstation. I actually love the way that this turned out. I really love the way that the buckle is on this. I love my little pencil holder that I have the elastic strapping on. That way I can put some scissors or a screwdriver or something like that in there. And then, of course, I love my work cube station, which includes the calculator that Kristen sent me as a must-use item. Here I can keep keys and write little notes and keep accessories and thumbtacks and have everything I need for my office supply or desk area. All right, and for the next project, I'm going to be using these 2 rolls of the burlap that Kristen sent me, as well as some twine that I had on hand myself. I am going to also use an embroidery needle, and we are going to start threading my twine through that embroidery needle. What I'm going to do also is take my 2 rolls of burlap, and I'm going to roll them out evenly. They're both the same exact width, and I'm going to be using the entire width of both of those rolls. Now, for these, I am just kind of laying them on top of each other, and I'm going to roll these out until everything is completely flat, or at least, as flat as they can be. Now, for the ends of the 2 rolls of burlap, I did go ahead and use some tape. First thing I did was take my needle and just start threading my twine through, and I'm doing this at a diagonal, and I'm going to be doing this all the way down this entire roll of burlap. Now, when I did do this, as I'm doing this, I am scrunching up the burlap each time. And then you can see kind of that end there that's starting to coil. That's kind of where I was saying I was putting the tape. And so I did finally end up putting a piece of tape on there to hold that down, and it did make life so much easier. So I highly recommend you do this. And then all I'm going to do is just again start taking that thread. I was gonna use my drill there to hold it down, but I did end up using tape. And now I'm just going to warp speed, just start taking this twine and just kind of going back and forth all the way down this burlap. I think this was like, gosh, it felt like it was 400 feet. It may have only been like 6 or 7 feet. I apologize. I didn't look at the label when I took everything apart, but I am literally going all the way down. And what I did is, as I kind of ran out of twine, I just kind of pulled the slack and just kind of scrunched up my burlap to really make it look like it was garland. And when it was all done, it was a lot shorter than I had anticipated. However, it is still something that I'm going to use. Now, my original plan was to take one of these wreath forms from Dollar Tree. However, I'm not going to have quite enough burlap to go all over the wreath form itself. So I am planning on cutting down this wreath form. So I am going to take my garland and I'm going to sew it I'm going to tie it onto my my wreath form here, and we are going to get this wrapping. To do this, I am literally just kind of following the curvature of the wreath form itself, and then I'll go back in with some twine and kind of tie this down as I need to in order to make sure that this is nice and secure. Now, right about here, you can see where I'm going to go ahead and cut away the wreath form that I'm not going to be using. This was something that I didn't plan on doing, but it was the only wreath form that I had on hand. So I'm just kind of making it work. I'm going to go ahead and save that, though, because I can always use that for another project. And then once that is set aside, it was time to figure out what I'm going to do with that hole. Now, that hole that's there that I'm talking about is just that area where the garland is not connecting. You can see the metal wreath form there. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and just take some of this burlap that I had on hand, and I'm going to create a bow. Now, I am not a good bow maker by any means, and I am just going to kind of create these little bow ties that I kind of do as my my crutch bow. And I'm not going to show you any of the steps because they're really, really bad. And I'm just going to fill in that space. Now, I made an oversized kind of foo-foo-y bow that I could just glue and connect to the other pieces of burlap that were there. And I really kind of like the way that this turned out. I think this is super cute, but I'm not quite done with it yet. Now, you may remember from the earlier piece that I did when I created the garland, I had tons of little pieces of fabric left. So I'm going to go ahead and tie these in between the different poofs that are on my wreath form here, just to kind of give this a little more of a country feel. I really love the way that this is starting to look, and I was super, super happy with this when it was done. Unfortunately, my picture here is kind of wonky looking, and it looks like it's off to an angle, but I promise you it's not. It's centered, and I really do like this. I think this is actually going to go on my front door for Christmas. And for my last DIY, I'm going to use this little chalkboard that was in my mystery box. I'm going to go ahead and just remove the twine from this because I'm actually going to use this kind of as a standing chalkboard. And I had this piece of a picture frame that was left over, and it's made out of cardboard, so it's going to be very, very easy for me to cut. So I'm going to kind of just eyeball it here on where I think I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to cut it just with a regular pair of scissors. I did hot glue this down, and once everything was dried, it gave me the cutest little standing chalkboard. You could use these for all kinds of things. You could use it for Santa's snacks. You could even use these at your buffet, maybe for your holiday dinner, where you could name everything so everybody knew what they were getting. You could leave little messages for your loved ones. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with this. All right, everyone, that is the Mystery Box Challenge. I hope you enjoyed these projects that I came up with today. Christine K, thank you so much for challenging my brain and for letting me step outside the box, even if I may not have wanted to step outside of the calculator box. I think I handled it, though. I like what I ended up doing. Also, be sure and check out, of course, the playlist, which is linked below. Check out Courtney from Creative on the Cheap, who's the originator of this whole mystery box idea, which I absolutely love. I love being a part of this challenge each year, and I think I did it justice this year. And also, of course, be sure and check out my friend Whitney from Whiskey and Wit. She actually made this t-shirt for me. She made it for everybody that went on the Boston trip, and I love it. It's actually really comfortable, and I'm not just wearing that because I'm trying to suck up with her right now, and I want you guys to go check out her channel, because when you see what I sent her, I gave her some challenges. All right, guys, thank you again so much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.